Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new video here on FPL Now. Today we're going to be going over a wildcard draft for game week 28. So if you're excited for the video, as always, make sure to drop a like down below. Let's try and hit 50 likes. Leave a comment, are you wildcarding this week? Subscribe if you're brand new, ring the notification bell. With all of that out of the way though, let's get into the video and I really hope that you enjoy. So, starting things off, this is my wildcard draft for game week 28. Now, this could easily change because we do have FA Cup fixtures this week, which will give us more information on who's actually blanking in game week 30 and who isn't blanking in game week 30. It's a little bit of a tough one at the moment, though, because if Chelsea or Norwich win in the FA Cup, then Chelsea doubles in game week 28 and they have a really nice double up. And as well as that, they've just got really nice green fixtures after that. The only problem is they blank in game week 30 if they do go through in the FA Cup. So, when you're wildcarding it, I mean, if you've got a free hit, you're absolutely fine. You can just load up on Chelsea players and then just free hit them out in game week 30 when they do blank. But if you're not currently owning a free hit and you are wanting to wildcard this week, it's a little bit more tricky because you obviously want to bring in all these players that have really good doubles and stuff, but you also need to think about who's going to be playing in game week 30. So on this draft at the moment, we have Saar who plays in game week 30, Digne who plays in 30, Kilman who plays in 30, Rafinha and Ramsey and Saka who play in 30, and then Jimenez that plays in 30. So that's 7 players there that are playing in game week 30. As well as that, Broja will probably be playing in game week 30 as well. I think they have to lose to West Ham. So that's 8 players there. So obviously not a full 11, but on the flip side, you are getting like Rudiger, who's going to probably double in game week 28, and you're going to have James who doubles, you're going to have the likes of Trent and players like that. Now, Cancelo also isn't in this draft. You could go Cancelo over double Chelsea defense if you really wanted to, but of course, Cancelo doesn't have any double fixtures coming up, and as well as that, they're probably not going to be they're probably going to be blanking at game week 30 as well. So I think that yes, Cancelo is such a good option to have in FPL this year, but with the amount of doubles that are coming up and the amount of favourable fixtures, and of course needing to know who's playing game week 30, I think there are potentially better options. It's like, will Cancelo outscore double game week players every single week? You know, it just takes one goal to go in, and then he's basically not going to get many points that week if he gets no attacking returns. So yeah, it's a bit of a tough one at the moment. And again, I probably will make an updated wildcard draft later on this week if there are like any shocks or anything in the FA Cup, you know, if somehow City go out or, you know, Chelsea go out or anything like that. But anyway, in goal we have Foster and Saar. You could go with Saar and Ramsdale if you really wanted to, because Saar of course doubles this week with Crystal Palace and Watford up, which is obviously a really nice double, and then Arsenal double in 29, but of course they both play in game week 30. So do you want to, you know, flood all of that money into your goalkeepers? I mean, Mendy is also potentially a good option as well. He's a premium keeper. I think he's like 6.1 mil at the moment, a lot more expensive than other goalkeepers, but you know, again, they might have a really nice double coming up this week, and as well as that, they just have, I mean, you just expect Chelsea to keep clean sheet in all of these games, but you know, it's definitely whether you go that way. At the back we have Rudiger, Digne, James, Trent and Kilman. So yeah, as I said, having double Chelsea defense, if you're free hitting in 30, then you're absolutely fine. If you're not, it's a little bit more difficult. You could downgrade Rudiger to somebody like, I don't know, an Arsenal defender, maybe like Tierney or someone, which would give you a little bit more money in the bank. Tierney does double in 29, and as well as that, Tierney doesn't blank in game week 30. So holding Arsenal players at the moment is obviously very nice. Like, you could go Lacazette over Jimenez as well, but of course Jimenez doubles as well and then also doesn't blank in game week 30. So Wolves and Arsenal assets, like I say, for everyone that like wildcarded in game week 26, they've already got all their Wolves players, their Arsenal players. Of course, if they want to bring in Chelsea players, that's a different story because they're going to have to take transfers to play them. But at the same time, like, I think game week 26 teams are kind of set up for game week 30 already. But now with all the news that like Chelsea might double them with those fixtures coming up, like I wildcarded in 26 and I own like Van Dijk, and I'm not bothered about keeping Van Dijk. Like, I'd rather bring in Rudiger or James for Van Dijk, which is probably going to be my transfer this week if Chelsea do get the double up. But yeah, we've also got Kilman at the back, and then yeah, Trent, you can't really get rid of Trent. And they, of course, do double soon. Digne does double this week. Really nice double. And as well as that, they do have obviously a game in game week 30. So that's the back line. In midfield, we have Saka, Ramsey, Rafinha, Salah, and Willock. So quite a cheap midfield, to be fair. This could easily be messed around quite a bit, especially if you do downgrade somebody like Rudiger or James to improve this. So Saka's in there. Obviously scored a really good goal last game week. But as well as that, as I say, doesn't blank in 30, plays in 29. I've got Ramsey there as well. You could go Coutinho if you have the extra funds. Coutinho is definitely a captaincy option this week, 100%. Captaincy option's a little bit weird this week because do you go with Salah, who has West Ham, quite a tough fixture, or do you go with a doubler? But there's not really any, I mean, like, would you really captain Jimenez? I know he's got a really nice double, but I wouldn't really go that way. I think Coutinho is a really, really nice option this week. Or you could just go for a single game week player as well, someone like Kane or Broja as well, who does double this week. But either way, yeah, Ramsey is in this draft. He's just very cheap, but you could go Coutinho if you really wanted to. Rafinha's in this draft as well, just simply because he doubles. Obviously in this game week, doesn't blank in 30, but Bielsa has been sacked, so we will, I mean, obviously he's going to play. Like, Rafinha is just such a star player in that team. He's the best player, and he's not going to get dropped, but it's just, how is the new manager going to kind of, I don't know, just put the team up, like lay them out and stuff? I'm not sure, but either way, I think he's still a nice option. Hopefully still on penalties as well. So yeah, only 6.5. I think he's going to be fine. Salah, obviously, don't need to talk about Salah. Does double in 29 though, which is obviously really, really nice. And then we have Willock as well. Newcastle players, I think, are kind of getting slept on, but Newcastle are like really, really good at the moment. They've kept like 3 clean sheets in the last like 6 games or something like that. And Willock is just on fire as well, you know, 8 points, 10 points, 6 points. He seems to be the star man whilst like the likes of ASM's out and Wilson and players like that. He's only 5.7 and he doubles in 28 and he doubles in 29 with Brighton and Southampton this week and then Chelsea and Everton the week after. So I think Willock is definitely getting slept on quite a bit. You could go for someone completely different if you really wanted to, but if you're on a punt with your wild card, I don't really think that Willock is a bad option at all. I quite like how Newcastle are playing at the moment. You know, they're really, really good at the back. They're scoring a lot more goals. They're like 6th for like most goals scored, like XG, all that stuff in the last like 4 or 5 game weeks or something like that. Like, their stats have just completely changed around since the January transfer window. And I'm not saying like go out and buy like a bunch of Newcastle defenders or whatever, but you could also bring in like Dubravka as well, instead of Foster. If you do have the funds, 4.4 there, because obviously he does, like, you'd play Sar this week, but then he does double again in 29. So again, you could bring him in as well if you really, really wanted to. But yeah, I don't think Newcastle are like terrible options at the moment at all. And then up top we have Kane, Jimenez, and Broja. So Kane just seems to have found that form, doubles in 29. I think he is just a really, really good option to have at the moment. The only bad thing about this draft is you don't have Son. I mean, you could bring in, instead of Willock, you could go with somebody like, I always pronounce his name wrong, Kulusevski, who seems to just be starting every single game, but of course does blank in game week 30. But at Everton, and then he has United and Brighton in game week 29. But yeah, seems to be starting most games now. I think he's just been given a lot more freedom. He's playing really, really well in that Tottenham side. You know, 77 minutes, 90 minutes, 90 minutes, 62 minutes, and he's been scoring goals as well. He could have had a lot more in the last game week as well. But yeah, I think he's also an option if you wanted to go over with him instead of Willock. Like, bringing Son into this team is quite difficult. Having like we're kind of back into the premium defender range. You know, like double Chelsea is expensive. Whether you like have likes of Trent as well or Cancelo, like it's going to make the midfield not as good. So instead of Son, you might have to have someone like Kulusevski, but of course he's so much cheaper. He's like over nearly 5 mil cheaper. But yeah, we got Jimenez and Broja as well. Jimenez a little bit of a worry because he didn't start the last game against West Ham, I do believe it was, but did come on as a sub. So I don't know if he's gonna start the next game or not. Hopefully he does. He has a really, really nice double up with Crystal Palace and Watford. And then we've got Broja as well. Broja, nice double coming up. Favourable fixtures, all green apart from the Chelsea game, but as well as that, potentially might not blank in game week 30 as well, depending on the FA Cup results. But yeah, that's kind of the wildcard draft that I've gone with at the moment. Again, it generally, a lot of it is team dependent still. Like, if you have your free hit still and you're going to play it in 30, then you can just go to town on like players that, you know, blank in game week 30, because you don't have to worry about that. You can just free hit in game week 30. Nothing wrong with that at all. But if you don't have a free hit, it's a little bit more difficult. But I know a lot of people are wildcarding this week, and I say if there are any shocks in the FA Cup or anything, or any more information, then of course I will make another wildcard draft, do an updated one. But yeah, I think this one is okay, to be fair. Nothing too crazy. It's just not as many players for game week 30. But again, you could easily get rid of Rudiger for an Arsenal defender to give you an extra player, or you could just make that transfer down the line. So in game week 30, bring in Tierney instead, because then you still have, you know, the double for Chelsea. Then you have Newcastle, and then yes, they do blank in game week 30 against Norwich, but of course that gets moved to game week 28. But yeah, either way, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to drop a like down below. Let's try and hit 50 likes. Leave a comment. Are you wildcarding this week? Subscribe if you're brand new. Ring the notification bell. It's everything from me, though. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And until next time, peace.